24 years old. So my first treatment center I went to, I was 17. It was my senior year of high school. And a friend of mine, her mom made her go to rehab. See, my family wasn't necessarily like that. It was okay. You know, you can smoke weed, you can drink, you can hang out. No one really ever said they had a problem.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a problem. I'm
Yeah.
doing heroin every single day, trying to go to school and graduate. This doesn't make sense. You know, like I knew God had put this person, a really good friend of mine in my life, to come over to my house a day where she was fresh out of treatment that her mom made her go to. And I was sick. I was dope sick and I had nothing. And I remember it was this beautiful sunny day. And I typically love summer, but I couldn't even operate. You know, I couldn't even think complete thoughts.
Yeah.
My skin was scratching off. Like I felt horrible. She comes over, which really ultimately could have hurt her sobriety, you know, because I wasn't doing well. We had also used together before. So it could have been threatening, but God had a bigger plan there. You know, seeing her showed me I can have something like that. You know,
Mm.
I can be clean, I can be sober, I can live a life without drugs, and I craved that at that moment. So, at that time, I had to tell my mom because I was 17 at the time, I'm like, "We gotta call this center, we gotta
Yeah.
get me into this treatment center." Like, I was so determined to get some help because I know I couldn't live the rest of my life like this.
Yeah. Is that sort of like when you became convicted of your sin, or at this point, like it wasn't necessarily spiritual yet?
Yeah, not quite spiritual yet, but I mean, I can look back at and see how God was still woven in all these details, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because it wasn't me. That wasn't me. You know, that wasn't just me and my own thoughts doing that. That was God working his master hand on the situation, you know, because I was weak during that time.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's also what's the beauty of it is even in our mess and in our destruction, God will still be working, you know, God's hand is on everything, and I can see that now.
Yep.
And goodness, am I so grateful because there were many times that the ambulance was called because I've overdosed and I'm not breathing anymore, and they have to Narcan me and bring me back, and I come back, and I come back. Some people never come back from those things. You
Mm.
know, there were many situations. So I'm also a type 1 diabetic, and I have been since I've been 12. So there were also many occasions where my sugar is off the charts, over 1,000. I need to be taken to the hospital because I'm not right. You know, my sugar is not okay. So not only do I just have like the disease of addiction, but I also have type 1 diabetes. So these are like two
Mhm.
diseases that really take people out.
Yeah.
Honestly, they do, or you come back and you're not fully the same. You know, you're not the same anymore. So
Yeah.
God has just had his hand on the situation the whole time. So I finally went to my first treatment center. I did some of school there, get back out, don't change anything because I don't really think it's that serious. See, I think
Yes.
my problem is take away the drink, take away the drug, and I'm okay. You know, that's all I have to do. I just have to put those things down and I'm going to be just fine.
Mhm.
Well, now I get hit with the hard facts, you know, that's not real. You
Yeah.
know, I get out of treatment, I'm still hanging around the same people, I'm still doing the same things, I'm still listening to the same worldly music, like,
Mhm.
I'm still doing all of these things that I would have been doing if I were drinking and drugging.
Yeah, I love that you said that because it's so much deeper than just not doing the substances. It's getting to the root of the problem, like why you actually seek it, the environment that encourages it, the
Yes,
music that inspires you to go find it. It's
right.
it's all intertwined.
It really is. So, I ended up going back to that same treatment center again because I couldn't get it, you know, I couldn't get it. I didn't wanna change the things that were gonna be hard to change, you
Mm,
know, and at that time, you know, I didn't tell on my disease, I didn't tell secrets that I kept. I didn't tell my counselor at the time, "Hey, me and my mother were using together." So,
mm.
I go back home and the relationship's now weird. You know, I'm trying to stay sober, but I'm trying to stay sober on my own will, in my own power, and I can't
Yeah.
do that.
And you were at home with your mom who was still using?
Yes, she was still using at the time, and so a couple treatment centers, I'm going back. I actually graduated high school by the grace of God at that time. My grandma passed away,
Mm,
and I started using again.
okay.
So it's this back and forth cycle for a while, and people were very worried about me, because they knew my grandma just passed away. They knew the struggles that I was having already prior to my grandma passing away, and that was my best friend. That was the woman that I looked up to. She was just the brightest light with anything she said. She made it all make sense.
Mhm.
She was that kind of woman. And so for a little while, I struggled. I found relationships, that would bandage it for a while, friendships that would bandage it for a while, but I'd still always be stuck with me. The root of the problem, like I believed in this God, but I never had a relationship.
Mhm.
Never sat down, really could look myself in the mirror and be like, "I can't do this." Since I grew up at a young age, it was like I always had to do things.
Yeah.
If I wanted something, I needed to go get it. Um, and so I carried that with me, and I felt like that was my only way. If I want it, I have to go get it.
Yeah.
And that's it. I can't depend on people. I can't trust people really because look at my long line of lists of people that I've trusted and it's all went wrong. So time after time, and I can see God still even being woven in these details, right? Of just not even appreciating myself anymore. You kind of asked the question at the beginning of jobs. So I started off
Mhm.
as a waitress, and that was the one thing that I wouldn't give up is going to work. When I got out of treatment, they're like, "Do not go back to work right away. It's not gonna be good." They try to warn me of this, and I'm like, "You know what? I got this. I'm
Yeah.
a little different. I bet I can figure out a way how to do this, and I'm gonna stay sober." Started working, immediately having cash in my hand and money in my pocket. I went right back to doing the same old thing.
Wow.
And I just didn't believe people until I experienced it myself, you know?